As opposed to getting a ticket and not paying it. I would encourage them to pay it.
Not a ticket.
Go ahead.
So, the bottom line is we've had to reduce the general fund by nearly $1 million. And part of I've mentioned the fire department and elimination of a position in the finance department. In addition to that, we've taken all of the people that work in the service department, were previously charged to the general fund, and now we've moved them down to the street fund. That's to take the pressure off the general fund.
So when they get paid out, what explain the street fund? I asked
2210 is the
Okay.
street fund.
Okay, well, what,
The
2210,
street
they have
fund?
more money in the street fund?
Yes. They don't have enough money to support the service department over a long period of time.
Okay.
But as a stopgap measure, I'm estimating that it might last a couple of years. But we also have to purchase salt. We also have to purchase pothole patch materials, and a lot of other things like that out of the street fund too. So,
So it's good to have it all in one place.
and were it not for city council approving, well, I don't know if it's been approved or not, but if we receive the sewer district proceeds, that allowed us to put off laying off full-time firefighters. If it were
You
not,
talking about the 46,000?
No.
261,000.
For what?
Well,
Yes?
I don't know, did you want to?
Yeah.
Yes. The sewer district sued us to appropriate the land necessary for the 140th Street construction project. And tomorrow I am filing a response to that lawsuit. It's in probate court. And so if it is successful, if the sewer district is successful and we lose, then we'll get $261,000.
So I guess
And
you
if we don't get it, we're probably going to have to lay off 3 or 4 firefighters immediately.
So let me make sure I got clarification. So what you're saying is that they're proceeding with their plans
Through eminent
through
domain.
eminent domain.
Yeah.
So they're moving on that already?
Yes.
Okay. So, it's a,
If we try to
so
talk,
if we lose this,
if we lose,
we get $261,000.
Right.
That's interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
But you have, but you've only agreed to what, the service agreement?
That was only 46,000.
That was,
We voted on the service agreement.
Separate issues.
That's
Separate
separate
That's a
issue.
separate issue.
Yeah.
yes.
The MOU with the sewer district, that's a whole separate issue.
Okay, that's what I'm saying
Right.
as one part.
Right.
But
that's
this
only-
is the eminent domain where you're
Right.
suing for the property.
Yeah, the easements and the
And how
parcels.
many of those parcels that you get?
19.
19.
So, the bottom line is that we narrowly averted, and I mean, the jury's still out, beginning to lay off full-time firefighters and/or police officers. In 2017, we will not be able to avoid that.
That's almost another $1 million reduction, right?
Correct.
And in 2018 to 2019, 2.7 million.
Correct.
So my question to you, Jack Johnson, you do other municipalities, not just East Cleveland.
Well,
You
now,
been-
okay, go ahead.
You doing something else now?
No, I'm only in East Cleveland.
Okay. Do you
So
see
you have
yourself?
my undivided attention.
Well, it's about time.
Do you see us surviving in the next couple of years? To be objective.
be honest with you, I
Yes.
don't. To be
Okay.
honest with you, I don't. I don't know what the alternative is.
Okay.
Because next year, we are talking about laying off 12 to 13 full-time firefighters and/or police. So, there's nowhere else that we can cut to eliminate $1 million. We could eliminate the entire service department. The entire service department, we could eliminate it, and that's only $400,000. That's all. So we could eliminate the service department, and we are halfway there. So that means there's nobody gonna be plowing snow, there's nobody gonna be picking up trash off of tree lawns, there's nobody gonna be cutting grass, none of that. Nobody's gonna be patching potholes, none of that. And we're only halfway there. So, if you want to talk about police and or fire, we're talking about 12 to 13. And you can
Between the
pick
two or one.
12 to 13 positions. It's either 12 fire, 12 police, or some combination of them, but they'd have to be about 12 or 13 of them.
Okay.
And that's based on how much a police officer and a firefighter costs. And that's the reality of it. And that's just next year. Now, in 2018, it's 3 or 4 times that. So in 2018, to be honest, we will not have a police department and we will not have a fire department. $2.8 million virtually eliminates the rest of both of those departments. But those departments operate right now on $2 million. So, I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's the reality of it.
Well, that's what I wanted to hear. We hear it. We got a lot of citizens that come to the meeting on a regular basis.
Let it be
And
done.
Mr.
So let it be
Smedley
done.
brought it up a few weeks ago, saying that basically what you said, 2017, 2018, 2019.
And to be honest, I think that my concern is that somebody doesn't have to die before some resolution to this situation comes about. And I'm not necessarily pitching the merger, I'm not necessarily pitching annexation, but I don't know what the alternative is. I don't know what's the alternative. So, it wouldn't occur overnight if it occurs. So it's something for you to consider of whether we get to 2017 or even the end of 2016 and we contemplate laying off a dozen police and the firefighters, knowing what's going to be in 2018 and we're still sitting here having done nothing. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be done now, not wait until the end of this year and, try to figure out something. We just don't have that kind of time. So my recommendation is that we need to come up with a plan and do something now, because whatever we do, it's not going to occur overnight. So I don't, and you got to realize that all of this doesn't even take into consideration if GE finally leaves. That's another $2 million in revenue lost instantly. So.
Mr. Finance Director, I think there was some questions about the new developments coming in and the residents that they'll be bringing with them in terms of how fast they come in as opposed to how fast they are needed to come in. Do you have any insights on that?
it's, whatever happens, you're not going to experience enough development fast enough to generate, you know, you gotta realize, if a person makes $100,000 a year, they only gonna pay the city of East Cleveland 2%. So you need a lot of people making a lot of money to be moving in here very quickly. I mean, like next week. So development is good, it's always good, but you know, when I look at these numbers and I look at how quickly some of these changes are going to have to be made, what I'm telling city council is, you need to start making some decisions right now about what we are going to do, because I think it's that critical. And I think that when we start talking about having to reduce the ranks of firefighters or policemen below the levels that we are already at right now, I'm very concerned about the public safety and the safety of the residents in this community. I think residents deserve to be safe and to be able to call an ambulance if they need an ambulance, and be able to call a fire truck if they have a fire or a situation like that. And I think that you, as you know, the fiduciary agents of the residents of this community, need to make some responsible decisions now in terms of what we're going to do. And we can't wait until the end of this year. We can't wait until the end of 2016. I'm hoping that before the end of this year, I'm going to present the budget to you that's going to reflect these cuts that I'm telling you right now. And because I don't know how else we get around it. But I'm imploring you now to begin to formulate what it is we're going to do as the leaders of the community to take care of the residents in this community. You know, people, we're talking public safety here now. This is more than, you know, well, you know, I don't like the way this was done, or I don't like the way, we're talking about public safety and the safety of our residents.
I read that.